welcome to episode 1 of Selection Night with Shepp and Thommo. So what this show is all about is promoting and having a good laugh with grassroots sport around Adelaide, and even if it's possible to go interstate, sharing the love for a sport that gets played by real people. And so I'd like to introduce you to Craig Thompson, Thommo, my special, more than special co-host. Thommo, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mick. Good to be invited along, and I am very much looking forward to having some fun with you over the next few weeks on Selection Night, looking at grassroots sports, as you said. It should be fun.
Yes, it should be awesome. We're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. So if you want to have any interest and add to the show, get your club on board, have a look at Oz Sports Radio Facebook page. Shoot us a like, follow us, and give us some love. Get around us, and we'll get around you guys. And first of all, we'd also like to welcome Liam Verity to the show as our first special guest. Welcome, Liam.
Thank you very much, and thank you for that lovely intro. You think you did fine?
Yeah, well, there we go. We're very early days, learning the ropes.
It's the pilot. You don't have to worry about any of that sort of stuff.
Thanks, Liam.
No worries.
Up, mate.
So, Liam is back in the grassroots.
Yes, I am.
So Liam spent some time at North Adelaide, and so he's got a taste of what it's like being, would you say, semi-professional, definitely a high level of football.
I consider professional because I got paid, so
Absolutely.
That's professional, isn't it?
It is, correct, absolutely.
Spot on.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed my time at playing SNFL. It's one of the things that I always wished that I made, especially playing throughout amateur league football. And I went out to try it for Norwood a few times as juniors. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. But given the chance to play for North Adelaide, it was absolutely a dream come true. And making my debut on Anzac Day as well against Norwood was an absolutely fantastic feeling.
Absolutely, one of the biggest games of the season.
Oh yeah, the grand final rematch, Anzac Day, 5,000 people. I was nervous as hell, but I didn't want it any other way, to be honest.
Absolutely, you want to shine in the big moments. So
yeah, kicked 2 goals as well.
even better.
Oh, nice. And a good wobble of the head as well.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I know this isn't being recorded, but I just did a little dance.
Absolutely, yeah, well worked.
Great stuff, mate.
But I guess the real story is that you've had your time there at North Adelaide with quite a successful run too, I might add. Bit of grand final success.
Yes.
And you were part of the... I guess we should get this out of the way early.
Yeah.
You were part of the famous 19th man saga.
Yes, that was a fantastic time to be around North Adelaide.
I reckon. So there wasn't much media interest in it?
Oh, no, I mean, it just made all of Australia. That's it.
Yeah.
But actually, during the game, when nobody knew that the 19th man was actually happening, it wasn't actually until the next morning where my mum actually came in and told me it happened. But,
really? You had no idea?
No, I had no idea. Even on the bus ride home, we were packed with North Adelaide players and Eagles supporters. Nobody knew what was going on and that it happened. It wasn't until the next morning that I actually found out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what was your memory of it happening was just, it didn't happen at all?
No, it was just just exuberance of us actually winning because the Eagles were up by 50 points at half time or midway through the third quarter, and suddenly the boys just started fighting back and eventually won the game. So that's all I was worried about, is that just an incredible comeback.
So were you on the field?
No. So this is my first year at North Adelaide, so I was actually playing reserves at the time. Our team had already made the grand final when we're there supporting them, and just going ecstatic about what was actually happening, and I just couldn't believe what was happening, to be honest, to come back to win a game down by 50 points. Yeah.
And it was one of the biggest grand final stories ever.
Yeah.
To come back like that, and then to have that story tainted.
Yeah, the controversy around the 19th
still
man.
kind of get brought up today.
Certainly does.
Yeah, well, the Eagles won their premiership, so they can bury the hatchet, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure
Very true.
They've drowned their sorrows and tasted the victory drink as well.
Yeah.
So I guess coming back to Modbury, and Modbury is one of the oldest clubs in Australia.
Yeah, isn't it like them and Tidrigali played the first game?
Yeah,
something
like
about
that.
their history.
We go back a long time. So it's a club steeped in history, in grassroots football. So what's it been like coming back to play with the lads? It really is the lads too, isn't it?
It really does feel like coming home.
Yep.
Because going away to North Adelaide and then coming back in a few years, even though so many faces have changed and so many new names I have to learn and such like that, it really does feel like home. Because that's where I played my junior football and that's where I played most of my senior time as well.
Yeah.
It's a lovely club to be around.
And that is the epitome of grassroots sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where you go to enjoy life away from work. You know, you get rid of all those frustrations on Saturday. You come to work sore on Monday because there is no recovery, let's be frank. You know, there is no...
Or you take out all your frustrations out on the other guy.
Absolutely. And we'll come to some of those stories a little bit later. But, you know, injuries take a bit longer to heal because there's no real, it's grassroots sport. You know, the first aid facilities are a little bit less. But, you know, that's what life's all about. Getting out there and having fun and hurting yourself along the way. So.
Yes, that's always the fun part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's always a dream in grassroots footy, is a local footy club to see someone go on and do well, as you did, Liam, at league level, and if they can, when they're finished with that and they've ticked that box, come back and give back to the club is awesome. Yeah. That's what all clubs want.
Yeah, I certainly know. There's a few guys that have gone back from North Adelaide that are fantastic lads. They've gone back to their local league teams, and that's just what you do, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it's good to see. It's good to see,
and that inspires the next generation too. Yeah. You know, the juniors coming through, they're making their first games with the seniors, and they see, you know, I guess you could say the old pro coming back. He's had a good career. He's a bit, you know, a bit of swagger around the club. I've played. I've had the red V on, you know, and you give back, and that's what it's all about.
And I think it also is really good when players can go and learn at SANFL level, get the really good coaching, get that grounding, and then bring it back to like other clubs, even if it's not the club they originally played for in juniors, if it's a different club. I mean, I think that's really part of the game, and if we can keep that continuing, that circle, the game's only got to get better.
Yeah. Like, even during pre-season, so many guys were actually coming out to me asking me for like some sort of feedback about how they were going, and it's something that I've never ever had to do, but it's quite a feeling knowing that someone looks up to you and looking at this guy can help me get better.
Correct.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It makes me actually want to coach later on.
That's good.
Amateur
That's
league.
good to hear.
Yeah. And that's where the good coaches come from, is giving back to the club, the players. You know, building the relationships with the young guys and girls coming through. You know, to help men and women become better players and enjoy time and sport and getting amongst it and getting around. And,
Exactly.
You know, that's how it all rolls. But so Modbury going quite well this year, and
I think we're mid-table at the moment. I think we're 5 or 6 or something like that. I know our record is 4-4, and unfortunately,
fifth at the moment.
It's in 5th at the moment. And unfortunately, we dropped the game to Plimpton, who arguably we were favourites for.
Yeah,
and we should have won. We should have won that. We also should have beaten Edwardstown, but our kicking on that day was not on.
Right.
So we could have easily been 6-2.
Yeah,
so, that's the way it goes.
Kicking is a big part of footy, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to kick goals to win
games. There's been a lot of talk about that lately. Yeah. My local club that I used to play for, Ironbank, had a big day out on the weekend, kicked 27-2. I don't think I've seen that for a while. That straight of kicking. So well done to the goal kicking coach down at Ironbank, whoever that may be. Probably Elijah Ware, the coach of the club.
Could be
used to play for Port.
Could be putting in
and
for
Centrals.
a bit of pay rise.
Yeah.
Of his 2%.
I think Noodles does pretty well. He's coach of the club this year. He's been assistant coach for a couple of years, and he's just slipped into the coaching role. And they've got a very young side as well, as you said, Modbury have.
Yeah.
And they're not doing as well as they have in previous years, but they're in there and they're pushing hard. It's good to see, and a result like 27-2 doesn't come along every day.
Man, I'd be disappointed if I was one that kicked it behind.
There was
like 24-0. That'd be a great scorecard to have. But come on, if you missed the goals, come on, pay up, pay your fines.
I think there was a bit of grief to the two guys who kicked some points on social media as well. I won't mention any names.
They may have had to have had the first round, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon they might have.
Yeah. But the rest of that league seems to be split into three, I guess, and that's the A3s, yeah?
Yeah, we're looking at the A3s, yes.
Yeah.
So we've got North Haven, Golden Grove and Flinders Park up the top, and then there's a battle from Gazer, yourselves, and Modbury, Edwardstown, Westminster and Plympton, and the CBC and Portland are doing a great job, and apparently a good shout out to Portland, who didn't have a senior side last year and have done really well to get one up and running, and it's good to see them out and about and having a kick. Yeah,
including their B grade as well, which doesn't always have the teams, but they've been able to get someone on the park as well, and absolute respect for clubs that are able to do that, knowing what's going to happen on the weekend, unfortunately.
And getting the players together as well, especially when you know you're in a competition where you're going to struggle and you've got some classy clubs that you're playing against, and getting the team on the park and fronting up every week is a big effort. So well done to those. Yeah,
and not to mention, Portland actually do have some quality players. Like, no matter what grade you go into, there's always someone who plays above their grade, no matter what it is. Yeah. And Portland definitely do have some players like that, just few and far between, unfortunately.
Absolutely, yes. Well, they're out there doing it. That's they're beating the guys on the couch, that's for sure.
Yeah, they certainly are. They certainly are. And Flinders Park apparently had a massive win last week at 3 points over Golden Grove, who was undefeated before that. So good shout out to Flinders Park there.
Yeah, absolutely. So to knock off Golden Grove, who are a strong club, that's a big tick there.
Yeah, and Flinders and Gazer come up against Flinders Park this week. So Gazer are probably going to try and hang on to be the top of that middle bunch this week, and they've got Flinders Park coming off a massive win. So that'll be the battle of your round. I reckon.
James Shorter and Dakota Nixon, who I played for with North Adelaide. Hopefully they can get over the top of Gazer for the rest of Modbury.
Absolutely, that'll help the table.
Good shout out, Liam. Yeah. Good stuff, mate. Get them up and winning.
And who have you guys got this week?
We have got North Haven, so top of the table.
Oh yes,
big test.
Definitely. The boys. This will after bouncing back from Plympton. Hopefully the boys will get it done. Yep. Unfortunately, I'm not playing this week because I did roll my ankle and quite badly. It's puffed and very, very bruised.
Was that on the weekend?
Yeah, that was against Plympton. I went out for a mark and my opponent landed on me. So unfortunately, I'm not playing this week. Yeah. But with the bye coming up next week, I should be ready for Edwardstown, which is the circle back again.
Nice. So back into the second round. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Well, I guess that leads us into our next segment, which is sporting injuries, and it could be funny injuries, could be any good grassroots injuries. The injuries that you see on grassroots football, soccer, tennis, the unusual injuries. Yours is a pretty standard injury, I guess, Liam.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a week to week thing with everyone. Yeah, I'm sure everyone gets an ankle.
Yes.
But you've got a good one, Thommo, I hear.
I did. This was going back a long, long time ago. When I was playing for Mount Lofty Footy Club, I went back to the C grade, was having a good day out in the first half, kicked 5, and the bloke who lined up on me start of the second half just mentioned to me that I won't be kicking any more goals, and I kind of was pretty cocky at the time and thought, oh yeah, right. First handball out of the centre came to me, and I was about to have a bounce as I was running and having a bounce, and next thing I know, I wake up on a stretcher. And the guy who had KO'd me said, I told you wouldn't be kicking any more goals, mate. But he was, I must say, he was the first guy in the bar afterwards buying me a beer. So, you know, that's what grassroots footy is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I don't love that you don't remember the hit. You just remember bouncing the ball and suddenly waking up in the stretcher.
Correct. I was thinking, oh, well, he was wrong. Man, no, he wasn't wrong.
There's something missing here. What happened here?
We ended up winning the game, which was good, but yeah.
And you got a free beer out of it too?
Yeah, I got a free beer. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, more brain cells to kill.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think the you guys might not know, but Thommo and I have both, Thommo's current district umpire in cricket. I'm taking a bit of a back seat these days, but I used to umpire district cricket, and when T20s first came onto the scene, the clubs had DJs on the ground. They promoted the T20s big time, and I had a game at Kensington, and it was Kensington versus Teacher Gully. And Big game.
Massive
and
game.
They had quite a crowd there. It was the first season of T20, so the coloured clothing, the white balls, and I reckon the crowd would have been maybe 2,000. It was lined around the whole ground, right? And after that, it petered out, and you get about 20 people there now. But, they had a DJ where they had the batsmen coming in, they had theme music, and I'm there like, oh, okay, this is a bit unusual. I've never umpired in front of a crowd like this before. And I was always in stories with umpires saying, I've never been hit by the ball, and you should never, you should never get hit by the ball. Yeah. And I used to take a great deal of pride. And I reckon Adam Mossop, my good man from Teacher Gully, was bowling.
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 I was going to say could hit a ball too.
He can, absolutely. But he was bowling his gentle medium paces. I'm sure, Mossy, you don't mind me saying that. But he was, I think, from memory, it might have been Michael Klinger who was batting.
Yep.
And he's just pasted it straight back at Mossy along the ground. And I've taken a step backwards, as you do, but Mossy's put his big foot out and it's rebounded off his foot and it's collected me right in the groin. Right? And
very funny for everyone else.
I've gone, as
Third
you
ball
would,
to add to the sack.
absolutely crashing to the ground, right? I've saved a 4, right? But the DJ has gone right off. Oh, the umpire's gone crashing to the ground. And the crowd's erupted and fully let me have it. That's probably my best injury, I guess. But I have to get up and, nobody offered to rub it for me. So, you just get up and away you go. They and we got back into the game. But that's the only time I've been hit on the cricket field. And, it was in front of a few thousand people, unfortunately.
Yeah. As Vic mentioned, I umpire first grade cricket. The only time I've ever been hit is in an under-17 shield game. One guy just mowed one. Bowler went to catch it.
Yeah.
Caught and bowled, and I got out of the way of the ball, I thought, and then it ricocheted off his thumb straight into my arm, my forearm. And the batter actually jogged up for a single and actually said to me, "You cost me 4 then, mate."
Yep.
I said, "Thanks for the sympathy, mate."
For the sympathy.
I had an egg on my arm for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. My most embarrassing moment in cricket is that I've gotten out to a hat-trick ball.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was a full toss as well and hit my stumps.
Oh, no.
I didn't expect it. I thought it would be nice. Straight the stumps. I'd block it out of the way, but he's bowled it fully at my chest. I'd got to swing it, and it's come down and it's collected my stumps.
No.
The walk of shame. That's a good one. But yeah, if you guys have got any embarrassing stories, not embarrassing, but even injury stories.
Make it embarrassing.
Yeah, embarrassing stories. Let's hear it. Shoot us a line at the Oz Sports Radio Facebook page. And I guess it's also a good time to remind everyone to have a look on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and obviously our show sponsor Viva. We want to thank you very much for being the radio sponsors for the show, and throughout the seasons, I guess, while we're plugging.
They do shirts, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. uniform suppliers.
They are looking very good, Mick.
Thank you. I'm wearing the club's sponsored product. But we do a lot of commentary as well. So last year we did a few cricket games. So we're looking for more commentary gigs, basketball, football, soccer, cricket. I think me and Thommo would go pretty good at cricket, I reckon.
We go.
But that means you'd have to give up a day of umpiring or do it on a Sunday or whatever we can sort out.
Maybe we can sort it out.
We can sort something out. But yeah, so hit us up on Oz Sports Radio Facebook page and also Twitter and Instagram as well. So I guess, have we got much more to talk about footy before we move on?
Should we touch on seeing we've done the A3s? Maybe we.
Yeah.
I think it'd be au fait of us not to mention the A1 amateurs. At the moment, the current league ladders, Prince Alfred Old Collegians, going great guns. Not so great last weekend. Apparently, we're up by 4 goals with 4 minutes to go, and it was Paynham who kicked the last 4 goals of the game. The last goal with 10 seconds remaining to get over the league leaders, Prince Alfred.
That's a big slip.
So that was a massive win for them.
Well done.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then Prince Alfred have got another hurdle to get over this week. They're playing the team that has their ex-coach, Brett Backwell, at Brighton. Is now coaching Brighton. So they've got a couple of...
So it's a big game.
That'll be a big game for them all, I'm sure. So PAC will be looking to get back on the winner's track and teaching Brett Backwell's Brighton a lesson, hopefully.
No grudge match at all.
Yeah. And there's probably the match of the round in the A1s would be Goodwood versus Paynham. Paynham, who I just talked about, who beat the league leaders last week, and Goodwood only had a narrow win over a lower-ranked Tea Tree Gully, but it seems that Tea Tree Gully are to anywhere from Tea Tree Gully to St Peter's on the ladder. The competition is very open, and Uni are only just off the pace as well with only 2.
Yeah, what is it? 2 games in hand?
Yeah,
2 games different. Sorry.
Yeah. Between 3rd and 8th.
And Tea Tree Gully always
There's only a couple of games in
their station too. They're always tough to beat.
Yeah.
They play quite well.
Yeah, so there's a lot more footy to come in the amateurs around the place. Should we have a bit of a look at some other footy?
Yeah.
That's happening.
Absolutely.
Obviously, my passion is Hills footy.
Yep.
I live up at Heathfield and.
Well, they breed them tough up in the hills.
Well,
Absolutely.
some of us are tough.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys would say I'm not very tough. But, as I mentioned before, I played my footy most of my footy at Ironbank, did all my juniors at Mount Lofty and then moved over to Ironbank. Ironbank have had a good couple of years, but they're sitting 6th at the moment on the current ladder in the it's called the Country Division, if you like, or the A2s. Kangarilla are having a really good year. They're sitting up the top with Kersbrook. And much of a muchness again, there is from 3rd to 6th only 1 game in it, and then only 1 game back to Mackie. And Torrens Valley are really struggling at the moment, but they're a great club and they'll bounce back, I'm sure. It's good to see them, as you were talking about with Portland, it's good to see them getting guys on the park. I've got a couple of nephews that play out there. Well, sometimes they get seconded into playing when they're not really that keen, but they still front up, and it's good to see them getting out and having a kick.
Yeah.
And Ironbank have actually got Torrens Valley this week, and we'll be looking for a big win, but hopefully Torrens Valley can serve it up to them. And the match of the round there is probably Gumaraka and Kangarilla. There's Kangarilla sitting top, Gumaraka are 3rd. Gumaraka had a loss to Meadows, who are sitting 4th, and Kangarilla had a massive win against Torrens Valley last week, so they're out for a bit tougher match this week against Gummies, so it'll be interesting to see who gets over the line there. And
so if you were living in the area, go along to these games that we're calling the match of the round, because they're the ones we've identified as close contests, the ones that are going to be the real good games to watch as a neutral too. So
yep.
Get around the clubs that are playing and support the local clubs, everyone.
Yeah,
I love how empty the town is whenever there's a game of football in town.
Yeah.
There's no one around. Everyone's at the game of football.
Yeah, I used to have golf weekends, the Hack Invitational, and we had them every other year from Victor Harbour up in Waikerie. So this one year we were up in Waikerie, and it was Waikerie versus Berry, right? And it was just after Mark Rasciuto had retired.
Oh, yeah.
And he was coming
obviously.
back to play for Waikerie.
Oh, wow.
And
What
Berry,
a buzz.
well, to make it even better, the Berry star was the other Crows legend from the Riverland.
Modra.
Oh,
absolutely.
yes.
It was Modra versus Rasciuto. Now, I tell you,
Wow.
I've never seen anybody. That ground is packed. You could not get into the ground.
I can imagine.
It was amazing.
That was huge.
The town was empty, but the crowd, I reckon there would have been 10,000 people just lined around the oval. It was amazing. And we luckily had booked to stay at the Waikerie Hotel for about 2 months out because we were there for the golfing week.
Yes.
That was a
sure.
huge night, and the golf the next
Would have
day
been for sure.
wasn't very attractive. So
It would have been great, I'm sure.
yeah, and that's what it's all about, getting around the local boys, and when there is a superstar, you go along and have some fun with it.
Yeah, for sure.
So who else have we got there, Thommo?
Yes, we have. Obviously, in the main division, there are 10 teams battling it out up there in the hills. Harndorf, undefeated. They have some really good football names playing up there at Harndorf. You got Matty Yench, Kyle Cheney, Jared Petrenko. I've probably missed a couple, and I'm really sorry, guys, but let me know which ones I've missed and give me hell about it, and I'll be happy to take that on board.
You mentioned the important ones.
It's kind of getting a bit out of grassroots, right? That's nearly the god paddock, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a superstar.
So they're going pretty well, obviously.
Yeah.
Now there are a couple of teams who have made the jump from the country league into the more the Hills A1 league, and that is Bridgewater and Nan Bremer. They've both come up this year, and look, Bridgie are going great guns. They're sitting 5th at the moment, so it's really good to see the guys at Bridgie doing really well. One guy, we're talking ex-SNAFL players giving back to their club, Roon Guilfoyle, was playing at Sturt. He's gone back to Bridgie this year and going pretty well, I think. Big shout out to Roon. And it's good to see those guys coming back and playing for their clubs, as Liam mentioned before. They've got a massive game this week against Blackwood, who are sitting 4th. I've picked that as the round of the week. Please let me know if I'm wrong. Mount Lofty have got a massive task against Onkers, who are sitting 3rd. But again, there's not a huge lot between those middle clubs. So there's still a lot of people vying for a final spot in the 5. And it's Uradler up against the mighty Harndorf. Uradler are a club that have won a lot of finals and been in a lot of finals for a long, long time.
For a little itty-bitty town, definitely.
Yeah, they're a very proud club. They play very hard footy.
Yep.
And so they were up against the might of Harndorf this week, so hopefully they can try and get to them. Someone's got to inflict some pain on Harndorf.
Yep.
I'd like to put a call out there. Someone's got to do that.
Well, I guess one of the big risks when you're dominating a league is to not let complacency creep in. Yep. So I guess if Harndorf are a little bit off their game and their opposition is up, then that evens the contest out dramatically, you know. So
I always think throughout a season, I think you need to lose one game.
Yeah.
You just need to lose one game because it then brings you back down to earth and it just makes you realise that maybe you're not that great.
Yeah.
You're not unbeatable.
Yeah, you're not unbeatable, yeah.
Correct.
You can't be walking around swaggering and cocky and, that's for the professionals, so to speak.
That's right.
The boys that play in Europe, they're
And
the ones that let us know all about it.
Probably the other league I'll mention, I've got a bit of a family involvement here. It's a River Murray Football League.
Yep.
My nephew Tate Silverlock, so a big shout out to Tate.
You going, Tate?
Yeah, he played in the West Adelaide Grand Final side that won the GF a few years ago, and also known.
Our super producer is a Westies there, quite clearly.
He's pretty happy with that.
Shout out, touch in the air. That's good to see. And people might fondly remember Tate as the human helicopter when he took a mark of the year in the SANFL as well.
Was he like horizontal or something?
Yeah, he was up in the air, one hander. Yeah, it was
fantastic.
It was a pretty awesome mark. And he is now coaching. Reason why I'm mentioning him in the River Murray is he's now coaching Jervois. He went up there with a mate from Westies and was just playing, and now he's coaching. He had a knee injury last year, didn't play much. Came back for the finals and they got over the line and won the flag. So
nice.
He's coached 1 year, won a flag. So he's doing pretty well up there. They're sitting second at the moment, though, I do see, to Tailem Bend.
That's still a good run.
Yeah. So I haven't had a look at the matches there, but I'm sure there'll be a great round of matches this week. And a shout out to all our teams up there in the River Murray League.
Absolutely. And the show doesn't have to stop in Adelaide. We can go wherever our call is needed. Just like if anybody from my old hometown in New South Wales and the Central Coast is listening, I'm more than happy to shout out to the Nara, Wyoming boys. They'll be getting into pre-season sometime soon for cricket season coming up, but more than happy to promote whoever wants promotion. So get around us. I'm all for biased commentary.
My God, you sound like Channel 7.
Channel 7 can have the Crows and Channel 9 can have Port and just unleash on the biased commentary. I reckon that's how it should go. That's just me. But yeah, so moving right along, I guess that's football done and dusted, isn't it?
Yeah. And by all means, anyone out there listening to us, and let us know during the week if you want to give your team a shout out or your league a shout out that we haven't mentioned.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a lot more AFL football played around the traps, and there's a lot of other sports played. So let us know,
Yep.
and we'll be happy to take it on board and have a look. And
absolutely, we do have to cut. We do have to cut the show into pieces, otherwise we'll be here for 3 days banging on. So it's more so to keep us on a leash rather than promoting everybody. But we'll try to move on as best as we can. So we'll move on to Australians will call it soccer. I guess the football people will call it football. We've moved on from footy, Aussie Rules, and we're moving on to football, soccer. So what we'll do is I'll cover some women's soccer first, the National Premier League in Adelaide. Now, it's a pretty good competition, and we'll just quickly run through the games coming up this weekend. We've got Fulham versus Adelaide Comets. That's a reasonably even contest there, but they're two bottom of the table teams, 7th versus 8th. Probably be a draw, I reckon. Adelaide University, Adelaide versus Football SA, national, the development team. They're sitting third on the ladder. The Adelaide United girls should win that one. The clash of the round here is West Adelaide versus Salisbury Inter. That's probably the only top of the table clash, and it looks like a cracking game. West Adelaide have only lost the one game and have scored 18 goals and have got a pretty good defence. Salisbury Inter's defence is even better. They've only had 3 goals scored against them all season, and it'll be a cracking game. West Adelaide versus Salisbury Inter at Westies. And another evenly poised match there is Adelaide City versus Metro United. That's 5th versus 4th. That's in the National Premier League for the women. And in the reserves, we've got the same again. Obviously, that's the NPL reserves for the ladies. But the match of the round there is more than likely Adelaide University reserves versus Football SA girls, 4th versus 1st. And the Football SA girls should get the job done there. And moving into the Women's State League, I've got to say I'm a little bit biased here, as you quite rightly know that Modbury Vista girls are sitting on top of the ladder with a very impressive goal difference. They've won 3, drawn 1, so they're undefeated. 23 goals scored for 3 against, and they're playing Flinders Flames this week. First
awesome
versus
display.
4th. They're killing it.
Yeah.
And they're playing some really attractive football too. They're well coached, and their setups are quite good. And they're putting goals away left, right and centre, which is really good to see. So I'll try to be getting out there. The Flinders Flames have got the home advantage, but I think the Modbury Vista girls will get the job done. Modbury Jets versus West Torrens Bacalla, 6th versus 2nd. West Torrens will probably get the job done there. They're sitting 2nd. They're the same. So it's on goal difference there. White City versus Cove. That'll probably be a draw. Let's face it, 7th versus 8th. It'll be a struggle. I think there'll be two evenly matched teams going at it, but it'll come down to who wants the game more, really. And the last game of that round is 5th versus 3rd, Adelaide Jaguars versus South Adelaide, and the South Adelaide girls should get the job done there. And we're not going to go into the National Premier League or the State League 1 for the guys, because they're a little bit more professional, and we're not. That's not what we're about. We're about grassroots football, and so the more we develop the show, we'll get into some amateur football, and because I'm biased, we'll stick with the State League 2 boys and how they're going. And it's an interesting table in that Noarlunga on top, followed by Seaford and then Gawler Eagles. And then we've got Cove. Oh, that's the reserves. What am I doing? The seniors are here. So, yeah, Port Adelaide are on top with University.
Good save.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you'll get some feedback on that.
I don't remember that being the table. That doesn't look familiar.
But he flowed right into it as well.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Seamless. Now all my predictions are out. But the Port Adelaide guys are up against the Demons, and they should get the job done. Port Adelaide are well coached, and they should get the job done quite easily there, you would imagine. And the match of the round in the seniors is Adelaide University versus Noarlunga. So that's 2nd versus 4th. So
should be a cracker.
That should be a good game. I've probably if I was a betting man, which I'm not, and we're not promoting gambling here by any stretch, but I'd probably have money on a draw there, because they're 2 evenly matched teams. Modbury are playing Pontian Eagles. And that'll be a good game. I think Modbury coming off a really good result against Salisbury, who was sitting 3rd on the table last week, had a 2-2 draw. So they're playing good football. They're been a bit unlucky, but they're a very, very young side after a rebuild this year. So they'll be up against Pontian, but hopefully we'll get a good result. The reserves, the match of the round here, I've got Modbury Vista versus Pontian. It's 7th versus 5th, so a middle of the table clash, but I think it'll be evenly matched, and away we go. Now, it really gets interesting when we get into the under-18s. That's where it gets... the boys are still full of energy. They're running like lunatics, and They're still learning the ropes to a degree, but the coaching is where it really comes to the fold here. Adelaide Uni are on top, and Cove are second, with Modbury Vista third. So obviously being in the same draw as the seniors and the reserves, Modbury are playing Pontian, and that'll be another cracking game as well, where I think Modbury will get the chocolates there too. And I'm shouting out to Modbury because next week our special guest is going to be Dan, who's the under-18s goalkeeper, and he's got a good story. He's come from Teacher Gully to Modbury.
He saw the light.
He has seen the light, absolutely.
That'll get some feedback.
Yeah.
He's done the exact same thing I did.
Yeah, and he's a good goalkeeper. I coached him at Modbury Cricket Club as a young fella. He was a wicket keeper, so it falls goalkeeper. So he's a man of my own.
Yeah, they both wear gloves.
Absolutely.
They both stop the ball.
Exactly.
Call a wicketkeeper a stopper. He's not usually very happy with that.
That's a very, very dangerous thing to do, I have to say. But we've, being part of the wicketkeepers union and the goalkeepers union and the catchers union in baseball, we are the ones that the team is built upon. So,
Okay.
Is that just your opinion?
Yes.
Cool.
I think it is mixed opinion, and I think most wicketkeepers would have that opinion.
Absolutely.
They have a very strong opinion. Most wicketkeepers behind the stumps.
You got to, if you're a silent wicketkeeper, you've lost your ticket in the wicketkeepers union. It's the same thing for the goalkeeper.
Same as wearing short sleeve shirts when you're wicketkeeping. It can't be done. Hey,
you hand your ticket in.
That's right. That's right.
And so if you and wearing a baggy hat, that's just as unacceptable.
Correct.
I think that's football done, because let's be frank, there's only so much soccer that you can take before it gets into the real amateur stuff, and it's pretty well wrapped up. So one of the things that we're looking for as well, folks, is like a club legend. So if you've got a club legend, someone that is around the club all the time, puts in, who's been there since day dot, let us know. Yeah, so the club legend, you can nominate your club legend. Hit us up on the Oz Sports Radio Facebook page. Put your nomination in, and there'll be a prize at the end of the year, so they'll get some really good recognition. Rebel Sport will be an awesome sponsor for that, so some donation, and hit us up on Facebook page, Ross Sports Radio, Club Legend of the Year, and I'm pretty certain, hopefully, we'll have a special guest club legend from the Campbelltown Comets, hopefully in the studio in a couple of weeks, to tell us her story, to give a little bit of a backstory of what we're talking about. Shelley was a young girl playing at Campbelltown Comets a few years ago now, and she saw the club losing players, and instead of just watching the club die, she put her hand up, joined the committee, took the reins, and got out there and promoted the club, went around, knocked on people's doors, handed out flyers.
Sensational.
And she's built the club up to a point now where it's one of the more successful netball clubs in the
beautiful,
in the region.
well done.
Yeah, so
you hate to see a club die.
Absolutely.
And you love to see someone who actually stands up and actually brings it back to life.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
right.
So
It'd be great to have a chat to Shelley.
Yeah, so she's got a fantastic story. And we'll bring
I'm
her
sure
on
some
the
clubs
show
can get things out of that as well.
Yeah,
like how she went about it and things like that. I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah. So hit us up, and we'll have a prize. Rebel Sport will come to the party, and we'll promote a club every week.
Yeah, for sure. And also, obviously, club legends, they usually have some pretty good nicknames, mate.
They do.
They do. Absolutely. So, like, we were talking off air before, and there's some pretty good nicknames out there in Sportland.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess before we get too much into it, the show has you and I and our nicknames.
Oh, mate.
Some of the worst nicknames you've ever heard, Shepp and Thommo.
Yeah, that's
because it's pretty,
it's pretty common.
It's pretty common. If you're a Thomas, a Thompson, a Tomney, you're a Thommo.
Yeah, you're a Thommo. That's it. You get Thommo, and plus, also, I'm not only a Thomas who gets Thommo. I'm also a redhead who gets Ranger, Rusty.
Yeah.
All of those come along with it. Blue.
Oh, Dad got that. Yeah, Dad's a redhead as well. He got Bluey back when he played cricket for Wandry Hill.
Yeah. So, like So not only is it your name, but Shepp. I mean, I know, as I was saying before, I know a lot of shepherds, and nearly every one of them is called Shepp.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how old, how young they are, they're Shepp.
That's right. And what's your nickname, Liam?
Mine's got to do with I've had a variety of nicknames, including Variety, because my last name is Verity. Also Variety Bucket as well, KFC. Also like Giraffe and all that sort of stuff. Praying Mantis because I'm long and lanky. But
how tall are you, Liam?
So I'm 197 centimetres, 6'5". When you get our specific about American imperial system. But the one I got at North Adelaide was called Panther. Yeah.
How did that come about?
Because I'm quiet. Sneaky like a panther. That's where it came about. It was Kari that brought it up, Josh Carr, the coach at the time. And throughout my career in North Adelaide, it slowly started to evolve. And that's
what happens.
Yeah, it evolves, but I'll keep going. It evolved as I was kicking more goals. I was getting feedback, and it was like Jacob Surgeon, who's the current coach of North Adelaide, he was a reserves coach. He said, "My God, you're a sexy panther." And so I was kicking more, and eventually it just got around everyone, and eventually my nickname was called Sex Panther.
Oh,
yeah, so that was my or the S&P.
Not a bad nickname to have.
Yeah, it was the best Sex Panther. It was the best one at the club easily.
Yeah. That's something to hang your hat on.
Oh, it definitely was. I mean, everyone whenever there was gatherings, that people would make up stories about why I'm called Sex Panther. Nothing to do with football though.
Very good.
That's it. I used to play cricket with this guy who was a similar height to you. He would have been 6'4", 6'5". But he was an older gentleman, so he would have been in his late 40s when I was playing with him, and I was only a young fella. Very, very impressionable, and his nickname was Stretch, right? Now, first of all, you think he's Stretch because he was stretched out quite tall, right? And you think, that's pretty basic. But the rumours are what make a nickname gold. Right?
Yeah.
All legendary, that's right. So my uncle, who was Smithy, right, he said to me, Stretch, you're playing the Stretch, are you? Yeah, right. You know why they call him Stretch, don't you? I'm like, come on. Well, he did a stretch. I'm like, and, so it evolved from there, right? So I'm like, did he? He's done a stretch. Right, inside.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And that I didn't want to ask him then because
you wouldn't want to. Yeah, not something you want to bring up if you don't really know.
So then the rumours started going around the club. It's like, this guy just don't get him rubbed the wrong way. Things could get ugly, but that's part of the fun, Yeah. And the same thing, everyone. If you've got an awesome nickname, send it in. And
I've had a couple in cricket.
Yeah.
Tom Cooper, when he was playing at uni, he was playing with Joe Many, and was yelling out from slip, "Not too many." That's a very, very good nickname, I think. And there was another guy who used to play at Southern Districts, had to move clubs to Glenelg, but when he was at Southern Districts, a lad by the name of Hugh Stone, was nicknamed Whitney, which I thought was very, very, very clever.
Bad.
Very clever. Someone very deep thinker had got that one through, I reckon. So well done to the guys at Southern Districts, whoever came up to that. And you can let us know who did. That'd be good.
Yeah. Hit us up on the Facebook page, everyone. But yeah, that's what it's all about. And the banter on the field is where the nicknames come from. And I think that's part of what makes cricket so fun. Is you're standing around in the field. You know, everyone that doesn't play cricket goes, "Oh, how can you stand around in the field for 6 hours a day?"
You got to have some fun with it,
Banter.
don't you? Yeah, correct.
Banter is
one of the reasons why I umpire.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when I went back to playing with Modbury Cricket Club, playing the lower grades, we had a special kind of banter where, you know, we would nearly ask for under 16 players to come out just so that they could bring the under 16 banter, the junior banter.
Not the bad, really bad
really
one.
bad, like
the send the bales to New South Wales.
That's the one. Oh, no. Yeah, I've seen a better batter on a fish.
Yeah.
You know, and it just,
more blocks than some Lego.
Yeah, more blocks in Legoland. That one.
Yeah. Well, he's building a picket fence here. It's another single. You know.
It's got more leaves in the tree.
Yeah.
I remember all those ones.
Yeah.
They're beauties.
Yeah, but it evolves from there. So, what have you got coming up, Liam? You got 2 weeks to go before you reckon you're right.
2 weeks to go, so I have this week off, and then be a bye for I think the whole league has a bye.
With a long weekend.
Yes, and so I'll be good for in a couple of weeks' time against Edwardstown for myself.
Yep.
So
nice. Looking forward to it, I'm sure.
Oh, it's good. I always hate missing games of footy. It gets you out of a rhythm because every time it always got something to do on a Saturday. Because now, when you go out to watch, you feel like you get the shakes. You just want to start playing, and I always get that whenever I'm injured.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess that just shows the passion. You know, you're not going to retire in a hurry when you're still itching to get out there.
No, I'll play to 40.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'm turning over and going into play veterans cricket this year.
You are?
Yeah, 50s.
Well, I won't be able to call on you for those trouble
you never know.
Adelaide
Maybe.
Turf Cricket Association games that I penciled you in for last year.
We don't play every week. So. and I tell you
why
what,
you can still play, why not, Mick?
Absolutely, you're a long time retired.
Yeah, correct.
But I tell you, those games last year that I umpired, well, let's call them trouble games. I loved them.
Yeah.
They were trouble.
Yeah.
They were hard work, but they were good fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was nearly violence on the field, but I guess that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I was playing. My brother is the B grade captain for Modbury, and this year unfortunately he had to run around with a few players, and there was one game.
How you going, Aiden? If you're listening?
Yeah, I'm sure he's listening.
Love your work,
G'day, Aiden. Yeah, and running around in search for players, and
you got called up, didn't you?
I got called up, yes, and my dad was going to get called up as well to play with us, which unfortunately did not happen. So one of the things I always want to do is play cricket with Dad, but it just unfortunately didn't happen.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
Well, you never say never.
No, never say never. He's 55 years old, so I'm sure he'll be able to still fit into the...
Yeah.
Oh, he's only young then.
He's only a young.
I'm 54 tomorrow. He's only
Happy
young.
birthday.
Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Day off from work.
Nice.
Beautiful work.
Absolutely. Just to recover from this.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Righto, so what else have we got coming up? So you must have a big day planned tomorrow. Then it's Friday.
No, mate, not much doing. We might go and have a bite to eat at a local pub. The kids and my wife, Kristen, and should be good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday, big fella.
Thanks, mate.
So next week we've got coming up Dan, the goalkeeper from the under 18s out of Modbury, will be our guest. He's more than likely going to phone in because they've got training on a Thursday night, and that's the other thing that we're looking for you guys. This is selection night, so if you want to have your team selection read out, send us the list and we will read out your team selections. So that way, if anybody misses the team selection night, they can look into the podcast on Spotify, Anchor, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and they can listen to the show anytime. They can even get a bit of a heads up of what's coming up. So give us a heads up who you're playing, and get around us.
Yeah, let us know what you want to hear about, and we will sure to we'll keep highlighting ladders and matches of the rounds. But yeah, more feedback we get from you guys, the more you're interested in, the more we can go to that.
Yeah. So thanks to the club. Not the club sponsor, but the station sponsor, Viva, for helping to put us all together. Oz Sports Radio is where you're at. I'd like to thank our special guest, our first guest, Liam Verity, for coming in tonight.
No, it was an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed it. I think you guys will do just fine as well.
Oh,
thanks,
cheers.
Liam.
Thank
cheers,
you,
mate. No, it was good to have you on.
Yeah, so next week, so we'll try to get the show out at about 7:30ish. Thursday night is selection night, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
See you later.
No worries. Catch ya.